Right now, though, it's time for the third and final race in round 2 of the Toyota 86 Racing Series. Aaron Noonan and Tony D'Alberto with you for this one. And Cam Hill won the last race, but he had to work for it this time because he's led pretty much all year so far. Will Brown made him work for it. Brown and Tim Brook will start from the second row of the grid in what is a massive field, 37 cars.
Absolutely, it was a great race in that last one there. Aaron Seaton as well was one to watch. He pulled up to the back of Cameron Hill and almost got around him, but he's starting back in position 5 for this particular race. And a third and final race for the weekend. Expecting big things. Close racing in that last one. And I'm sure it'll be exactly the same in this one. We've got 3 invited drivers, which is the regular system that we'll run with the Toyotas this year. So Dean Kanto starting 7th, Steve Owen position 8, Cam Mcconville is due to start from position 20. It's a big field of cars. It's Australia's newest one-make series, and it's been an instant hit because when you have this many cars, it means that the formula is working. Green flag at the back, ready to go. Cam Hill on pole is undefeated in 5 races so far this year. Listen to those little Toyotas. Really rev up the 4-cylinder 2-litre engines, get rolling to turn number 1. It's all about the start. Aaron Seaton is on the outside in the other red Toyota. He's got a really even jump, but look at this. Will Brown in the silver car is going with Cam Hill, and he's going to hang Aaron out to dry. Yeah, again, Cameron Hill got a great start there. We want to see someone challenge him at the start here. Otherwise, a bit of a bump and grind there. Tim Brook again is going to try and go around the outside. We want to see someone get in front of Cameron to try and beat him in this race. Well, Aaron Seaton has really lost out of all of this. He has been shuffled back to position 6, and that's Dean Kanto now, up to P5. Hill, when he gets clear air, has a history already this year of clearing away into the distance. They desperately need to hang on to the back of the 19-year-old. It's close quarters here, on board with Steve Owen, who would be pretty happy right now knowing that the car that he'll drive in the Enduros is on pole this afternoon with Chaz Mostert. Ben Grice has a problem. He's had a pretty solid weekend so far with an 8th and a 6th place, and that's a big crash in the background, off the road and in the fence. Simon Simolenko in the Simon James Motorsport car. That will bring out the safety car, no doubt. Ooh, I think he needs to stop it there. Quite a lot of damage in the rear. Yeah, major right rear damage. It's popped the rear window out as well. Medical crews straight away on the scene because, of course, it's the first lap. There's a medical chase car. Safety car is coming out at Sydney Motorsport Park. There's all the yellow flags, and as that is happening, there is a bit of drama in the background. Everyone now sees the yellows. I think that all happened right as the yellows were coming out, so there was a bit of 2x2 racing going on then, which is really tricky when all of a sudden a safety car's called and you're right in the middle of a fight with somebody else. But there is the Lexus safety car down the exit of turn 1 waiting for the field. Inside race control to the left there, the man with his hand on his chin there is Greg Crick, long-time race driver, a winner in GTs and sports sedans. He's the driving standards observer for this weekend. Replay of the start, one stalling down the back. But have a look at Will Brown. He has latched his toe strap onto the back of Cam Hill, and he's gone, I'm going to go with Cam. And they've managed to hang Aaron Seaton out to dry. For the guy that started 2nd, he's now 7th in the race under safety car. Yeah, sometimes that's just the way the race pans out. We're on board now. Let's see. Steve Owen. Start goes to Steve. He got a pretty good getaway there, and Ben Grice never really got away. Maybe he had some sort of problem with the car to begin with there. But everyone sort of behaved themselves. And sometimes you find yourself on the outside of that particular corner and you can't get yourself back in. So you sort of get swamped a little bit and pushed down the order. And we've spoken about keeping momentum. We see a bit of bump and grind there at turn 1 there, and Aaron Seaton just on the wrong end of it. Steve Owen here was trying to challenge on the exit. This will get us to the bottom of why. Okay, so that's Gary Holt in car 20, the multicolored car. Simolenko on the outside, and they've run out of road on the exit there. He's in the grass. The car's been unsettled. There he is, just top of screen, and it's flicked him across the road and whacked the concrete with the right rear. And that's why the safety car's out if you've just joined us at Sydney Motorsport Park. Now there's the yellow flag. All the yellows are out there, and there was one who lost control just in front of the pack. Yeah, he'd already actually lost the rear of the car on the exit of the corner there.
I think that's Lachlan Deagle in car 53, but yellow flags and safety car boards were out right there. You can see them there to the left of your screen. The yellow lights as well flashing to warn the drivers.
When you're in the heat of a battle there, though, you're trying to make sure you're giving everyone a little bit of room and trying to get through the field. Sometimes you just don't have enough eyes to actually see if there is a flag up or safety car that's being called. So sometimes the guys on the radio will actually call that to you, and that's the first time you'll know about a safety car period.
Cam Hill is our leader as we roll around under safety car. Will Brown sits second from David Cedars, Tim Brook, Dean Kanto. Let's jump aboard. Cam Mcconville sits P16. Well, we've got a little break in proceedings here. We might jump aboard and have a chat to Cam. How are you enjoying the weekend, mate? It's good to see you back behind the wheel. You've been doing more racing this weekend than anything else.
Yeah, thanks, Dunes. It's good to be behind the wheel. Bit of GT yesterday, 86. Had to drive a Nick Percat's car in the V8. But been struggling a little bit with this little baby. And, I actually love the 86. It's a lot of fun to drive. But had a bit of a fuel surge issue yesterday. Then in that last race, I finally got up to 13th with the other two knuckleheads. And she cut out on me coming onto the front straight. So it looks like I pushed the throttle a bit hard, went over 100%. And then it tells the ECU to go to 0. So anyway, engine cut out, lost about 15 spots. So here we are, P16.
So it's that bulky right foot of yours just pushing too hard.
Yep. Well, my wife always says that I'm a lead foot driver, and it's now been proven. So yeah, mate. So look, back to P16. Bit of work to do. Got a good start. So I hope he's okay there in that silver one. Looked like a fairly nasty shunt.
Cam, here's Tony D'Alberto, mate. Good to see you back out there and having a good crack. What do you think here, mate? What can we do for the rest of this race?
TD, I think it's headlights on and have a RHG. That's the plan, mate. That's the plan. I haven't put a scratch on it. Please don't jinx me up there. Unlike Kanto, who's been nudging people out of the way left, right and centre. He is a rough driver, that Kanto. So, mate, I'm going to have a bit of a crack here. If I could find another 4 or 5 spots, I'd be a little bit happier than where we currently are. Hey, good to race you in the GT. I think I passed you early on, didn't I, TD?
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention that one.
I thought I'd bring it up anyway.
I tried another gear at that last that middle sector there, and you got a run on me. So I gave you plenty of room. You had a good pace, though.
Yeah, the Ferrari was all right, but, the 86 is where it's at, let's be honest.
Righto, you two. You can go and have your little GT catch-up somewhere else some other time. We're bailing. You go and drive around in the safety car.
Thanks, boys. Good to chat to you. See you, mate.
Cam Mcconville sitting P16, and as he mentioned, he's going to get back in a supercar at Sandown in a few weeks' time and join Nick Percat to fill in for Ollie Gavin. Let's jump aboard with Dean Kanto, who got a great jump in that early couple of corners. Dean, P5, that was really good stuff, but you all hung Aaron Seaton out to dry.
You there, Dino?
Hey, Tony.
No, Dino, Aaron Noonan, I was just saying before that you're P5 and you all seem to gang up on poor Aaron Seaton and you left him one out, one wide, pretty much right here on the first lap.
Well, it's racing, mate. We've got to teach these young blokes a lesson. But yeah, it was a good first few corners there. I got off the line really well. Obviously, that other car had started to expire before the start of the race, but no, I got a good jump and was on the inside there going into 2, and I saw Aaron in the mirror, and obviously Stevie Owen read it a little bit earlier than Aaron and managed to make a pass on him.
Tell me about driving one of these cars. They're a production-based car. They've got a grooved Dunlop tyre. They've got a pretty handy amount of power with the performance pack that Neil Bates and his team have developed for these cars. But clearly, in essence, it's a one-make production car category, so the differences are pretty small in terms of the timesheets.
Yeah, correct. And look, I mean, at the start of the weekend, like Steve or myself hadn't actually driven the car. So practice 1 was our first time, but a lot of these guys have been testing quite hard. I think some of them have had 6 test days under their belt between Winton and now. So we've slowly been chipping away at it and making some changes, and that's why I've sort of slowly moved up the field. Yesterday wasn't ideal, but today was a lot better, and I managed to beat Steve-O in the last race with a few little fist pumps over the line.
Yeah, that was a great battle to watch there right at the end there. You got a better run onto the front straight. Tell us what's different about driving these cars? What's tricky about them? Because I'm going to race one later in the year and I need to know this information.
Well, the biggest thing that's messing with my head is the tyre. Because it's a treaded tyre, as you load it up into the corner, the tread blocks move. and I'm explaining this while I'm driving, and I keep correcting it. Like I shouldn't. I should just let the tyre take its load and grip up, but I can't. My brain keeps telling my hands to turn and correct the slide, even though it's not physically sliding, if that makes sense. And then I keep missing the apexes, but
mate, you've never hit an apex in your whole life, so. No,
touche. Hopefully I'm commentating when you're driving here.
We'll get out of your ear while you roll around under safety car. Thanks for taking the time to have a chat.
See you guys.
Cheers, mate.
Dean Kanto sits P5 at the moment. We're under safety car at Sydney Motorsport Park because of an accident with Simon Semelenko. His car hitting the concrete wall. We'll take a look at the highlights of the previous race earlier on in the day, race 2, where Will Brown got the jump in that silver number 31 car. And pretty much for the first time all season, Cam Hill had to pass the car to get to the lead. But further back in the pack, Callum Jones had this big off that seemed to go, not just because it's in slow-mo, but it was a high-speed lose at turn 1 that seemed to go for quite a while.
Anytime that you lose the car at turn 1, you're just waiting for what you're going to hit next. So he would have been bracing himself there, but got himself back going again, but then managed to have another little bit of a donut moment here, out in the grass by himself. A lot of racing, close racing here by Steve Owen. He was on a charge through the field again, and it was excellent racing to see each other giving each other a bit of room.
Side by side there with young gun Luke King, but it was Owen who got the spot. Then Cam Hill got to the lead. Ben Grice was on the grass, and it was 2 by 2 at turn 2, fighting for the minor positions. It was a really good motor race between a lot of young racers who, if you haven't heard of them before, you're going to hear of them now. Aaron Seaton did not take no for an answer. He got second place from Will Brown. Tim Brooke was down the inside as well. David Cedars was in there. Ben Grice was in there. Problem for Damon Strong when he ended up off the road.
There's absolutely no grip out there on the grass. Steve Owen again here, avoiding 2 cars coming together on the exit of the hairpin.
Jake Klein got a move done on Dylan Gulson, but needed to use some grass and some curb to get away with it. Chris Manley just bumping into that tyre wall. But Cam Hill led them home to keep that unbroken streak alive of 5 straight race wins. He won all 3 in the first round at Winton. He won race 1 yesterday, and he's in the lead now of race 3 with, of course, 3 more rounds to come at the end of this weekend. They'll be at the Wilson Security Sandown 500 with the Toyotas in 3 weeks' time when we head to Melbourne. The Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000, of course, the streets of Sydney Olympic Park to round out a massive year with the Virgin Australia Supercars Championship. We're on lap 4 at the moment. Now, this is the finish of the race earlier today. On board with Dean Kanto, Steve Owen trying to make a move and getting sideways on Ben Grice. And Dean gets the big run, and have a look at how excited he is to snatch 7th place on the line. And don't you think he reminds him about it before he's even won it? There's the line there.
Great little exchange there from the 2 guys that are our professionals for the weekend. Dean extremely excited to get the upper hand on his teammate there, Steve Owen. They are actual teammates in V8 Supercars, so later on in the year they'll be sharing a garage. But this weekend it's all out. They're all having a crack.
And of course, Dean will share with Mark Winterbottom in the Bottle number 1 car. Steve, who formerly has driven with Frosty. They won Sandown last year. They were runners-up at Bathurst. He will be with Chaz Mostert. So even though there's been a little driver shuffle within the Pro Drive Racing Australia garages, still they've got very strong combinations for the Enduros. Of course, you're going to team up with Scotty Pye in the DGR Team Penske 17 car. Here is Steve Owen, who's been doing some GT racing this year. He's been over to the Spa 24-hour with Roger Largo's team in the Longpan Endurance Series. So he's got a resume now for Steve that's pretty long and varied between GT cars, supercars, production-based cars, and of course, way back when, an open wheeler man in his Formula Ford and Formula Holden days. So he's been there and done a lot of it, and he's widely experienced. And that's the thing with the invited drivers for the Toyota 86s. They are there to compete. They're there to go as fast as possible. But they're also there to coach a lot of these young drivers, not just in race driving and how do you get through turn 1 fast, what gear should this be, but all of the other facets of a motorsport weekend. It's dealing with the media, it's public speaking, it's dealing with officialdom, it's dealing with technical matters. There's all sorts of things that these guys can bring to the table and then go out on the track and have some fun with them too. Yeah,
absolutely. And these guys have got a lot of experience. You know, talking of Steve Owen, he has raced a lot of cars over his time in motorsport. He's one of those guys that can generally jump into a car and extract the most out of it. It doesn't really matter whether it's a V8 supercar or a Toyota 86 or a Formula Ford. He loves racing, and you can see that by the way he approaches it. He's one of those natural guys that, you know, he's been in the sport a long time. He knows what to do, and he just works hard at it. So he's a great mentor for some of these guys. And like you said, someone like Kanto as well has been around a long time as well. And they can hopefully try and groom these guys a little bit and just, you know, answer some of the questions that they might have, because we don't, as race drivers, you don't really have a coach like a tennis coach. So sometimes you might go, hey, am I doing this correct, or what do you think? And they might just be able to confirm it for that driver and help that driver sort of progress to that next little stage. But these guys at the front, Cameron Hill, Will Brown, we've got David Cedars up there, Timmy Brook. These guys are very experienced drivers in their own right. They've done a lot of racing, and they're showing what they can do in these cars. Cameron Hill has been an absolute standout this year. So very, very good. He's won all the races. But these other guys are getting very close to snatching it away from him. I reckon not too far away when we see a new race winner.
David Cedars here in the Hooters car number 3. We've known David from so much of his V8 Ute racing over the years. He's been involved in a range of different categories. He was a wildcard entrant at the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000 going back a few years alongside Andrew Fisher in one of Craig Lowndes' old Bathurst winning Falcons from AAA. We're on lap 5 of 10. Safety car's been out for quite a few laps now, as if you've just joined us, an accident in the opening stages with Simon Samolenko, who had an accident. They were competing pretty hard in the early stages of this race, and he and Gary Holt running side by side, and just dropped the wheel off in the grass and then came back across the road and into the concrete wall, hence why we've been under safety car now for the best part of the last 4 laps. Cam Mcconville here in car 8.
You see these guys are doing a lot of weaving from side to side, trying to keep a bit of temperature in the tyre. So if you're sort of new to watching motor racing, that's the way you do it under a safety car period. You might use the brakes a little bit as well, generate a bit of brake temperature through the rim and into the tyre. But you can imagine when you drive around slowly like this, tyre pressures, everything go down, and then when we go racing again, the car's not up to temperature. Let's have another look at replay.
Yeah, so they're both outside the boundary lines of the track there. Simon's trying to get back across before the grass appears. Gary's holding his ground by the looks of things. There's a few cars between us with our camera shot and what was going on. Top of screen, you'll see what unfolds. The silver car appears to your left. There it is with the red flash on the bonnet. They've just touched, and it's at the wrong angle though, and it spat Simon across the road and contact with the right rear into the concrete wall on the inside. And that is the other car that had been involved with Gary Holt, the Eastern Creek Karts entry, who's had a couple of dramas this weekend with that car.
Gary Holt has obviously got his go-kart track just around the corner from Sydney Motorsport Park here, and just about to implement the new Daniel Ricciardo kart at his facility there. So that's going to be quite cool to see the new go-karts going around his high kart circuit.
And of course, Gary's a former winner of the Bathurst 12 Hour with that long-running BMW that he's had in Proddy car racing for quite some time. Been done Sydney to Hobart more times than he probably remembers. So we're still under the Lexus safety car here at Sydney Motorsport Park. About to finish lap 5 of the scheduled 10, but obviously with such a long safety car period, no doubt we'll end up towards a time certain finish for this race.
Shouldn't be too far away from a start though, not this particular lap. Oh, the lights are out on the safety car. All right, we're set for a restart.
Okay, so there's a few guys further back in the pack who have not been able to bunch up and keep up with the leading pack, which is led by Cam Hill back to the line. Safety car is in pit lane, and now we'll get racing. It will be a sprint in the final race of the weekend. The pressure will come now for the championship leader. The top 4 have got the jump. Hill's a little bit sideways at 1. Will Brown sideways 2, but he's down the inside. David Cedars to the outside. They're going to gang up on the championship leader.
This is the final lap of the race, so all bets are off. Will Brown, what a beautiful move. I reckon a few of those guys were caught napping there. Massive gap down the field. Cameron Hill's been shuffled back. Dave Cedars, and now Timmy Brooks going to have a crack at him as well.
Great news for Will Brown. He led the race earlier today, but he just couldn't hang on. The young gun from Toowoomba, up where Will Power's from in Queensland, and he's got margin too on this last lap. So the critical part, after all those laps of safety car, tyre pressures didn't really come up because we didn't go green for very long. When Cam Hill got to turn 1, he was sideways. That gave the run to Brown, and he's got the lead with half a lap to go.
Absolutely. You see the cars moving around a little bit, but Cameron Hill, he hasn't given up on trying to get his position back. He's going to have a crack here at David Cedars. Tell you what, this racing has been super exciting all weekend. It's giving David Cedars a bit of Morse code on the back bumper there. Coming up to the last sector, Will Brown's got a healthy little lead. I think he'll be able to hold on to that. Dave said, oh, we've got a bit of action.
I think that's Jared Maggs in between all of that dust it is. Rally crossing his way, and he's not going to get back on the road without having a spin. So it's a race that was affected by safety car. Will Brown pounced with 1 lap left to go, and he's going to break the streak. He breaks through for his first win in the Toyota 86 Racing Series in the final one of the weekend. David Cedars is second. It's not all bad news for Cam Hill, because he still finished third with plenty of points and retains the series lead with 2 rounds completed of 5 so far. Racing will go all the way to the line for the minor positions. And that was only one. That is what a difference of 1/100th of a second at the line looks like. I had to go to the timing screen. Oh, this is Jared Maggs, and why he ended up off the road. Side by side with Duncan Harrison. Managed to keep it away from the fence, but ended up rally crossing his way down to the grass. But well done, Will Brown. The Queenslander picks up the win. David Cedars home in second spot. Cam Hill next from Tim Brook. Dean Kanto best of the invited drivers. Aaron Seaton, gee, they boxed him around, didn't they? He ended up from the front row of the grid, finishing back further deeper in the top 10.